Hi, you guys. So yeah, I just wanted to wait a minute. Let me see if make sure something because I don't even hear the music that I've turned. So is it? Oh, I don't know if it was even playing. But anyway, I'm gonna just get right into what I was coming live for. Because I have some other videos that I wanted to put up. I'm trying to get this video up about Reverend I Ain't Never Scared Bryant. Child, these people, these preachers, these. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even want to start getting off today because I said I was coming to talk about, I was coming to talk about sinners and I'm about to go all off into politics and all this other stuff. But anyway, I was reading some reviews earlier last week and people were saying a lot of stuff about they walked out on TikTok, how they had to walk out Christians, right? Um, they had to walk out and it was demonic and all this stuff. So it just made me curious about what they were talking about. Then they started bringing up hoodoo or voodoo. And so I was thinking, because it was set in the South, that it was set in New Orleans. And so I can't lie, that kind of made me want to see the movie because normally I'm not that movie person anymore. Um, so I can't even tell you the last movie child anyway. So I was like, okay, well, let me go see the movie. But then when I started reading some other reviews, and I was reading that it was actually set in Mississippi on the Delta or whatever, and that allegedly he did this research and he was trying to really make the movie have it really set in 1932, right? And I was just reading some other comments after I saw the movie, like, listen, this movie was set in 1932, okay? Stop trying to act like this was in slavery days, because it wasn't. But people are somehow tying that together, but it's segregation that you guys are really thinking of. And yeah, some people were still picking cotton. Who was that whose mother was talking about that, and she was talking about that on one of these reality shows. I can't remember now, but she was from Mississippi or one of those, Alabama, one of those states. She was talking about how she as a child was picking cotton because you could go and pick cotton and make, I guess, money or whatever. um, Even though you guys understand that they created those machines, so therefore they didn't even need slaves to pick cotton actually anymore. But anyway, so he was trying to make the movie set in 1932. um, and my allergies about to mess up. But so I'm gonna make this quick because I didn't, the movie was really good to me. It actually was good, like people were saying. It definitely kept my attention, and if it did not, if I thought it was a bad movie, trust me, I would come and tell you. Um, so I'm not just saying that to say that. Um, and it was funny for me because I did not realize that Michael. I shouldn't even be telling y'all this or anybody. Didn't realize at first that he was both care. He was Stack and Smoke. I was like sitting there like, who looked like him? Cracking my damn self up. Like, who is this look like him? And then I realized that they were, I guess, using double cameras or whatever, however they do it. To make him a twin, right? So it's twins, Smoke and Stack. And like I said, from what I'm hearing, he set all the movie around things that actually happened in 1932. However, I need people to understand that this is a movie. Okay, I feel the need to say that. Not even about the Christianity stuff, but just in general, this is a movie. Um, so just to be clear about that, he set certain things around some things that actually happened, but this is in no way factual uh, at the end of the day. So I just want to say that. But where the Christianity, because this is what my video is about. The movie was good. I don't really do reviews and all that stuff, but the movie was good. Just to get into the Christianity thing, um, there were references some references to hoodoo. And obviously, it's a horror movie, so there were vampires. And obviously, Christians are already going to be like, oh no, honey, the demonic spirits and all that stuff. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I see why they ran out of the movie. But like a lot of people were saying, the minute you saw Sinners, you should have known that it was going to, first of all, somewhere the church was going to come into play. And when you saw that it was a horror movie, you had to know that some type of spirits, demonic spirits, whatever, monsters, were going to be a part of this. And so, yeah, that's all it is. It's not anything for any real, for Christians to really be out here setting up a fake march over. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. And then the hoodoo reference was even smaller. Um, the young lady, what was Annie, was one of the twins' love interests. She was like a hoodoo priestess or whatever they're called. And so that's where the hoodoo comes in. And so some people had issue with that. We have to understand that as American, because I'm from this history, I am FBA. My family we have traced our history back. We date back to slavery. So I am as real as it's gonna get when the story is coming, and I'm from the South. Um, I this is my opinion, and that's what you get over here. My opinion. I feel like there is such a disconnect from our history anyway. Like a lot of people, even my age, they're not going to go and do the research and find out who their family was and where they come from and what was going on, and so it's a lot of that. And these newer generations are even more disconnected, right? If there is a new generation. Because personally, I think that we're no longer here. And that's a whole nother conversation for another video. But I get the strong, strong feeling that FBA people are really no longer here. And that a lot of people are just getting passed off as us. And that's just my opinion. And when you go in, there's this documentary that's here about Native Americans called The Genocide of the Native American or something like that. When you put that into search, all the videos should come up, and it's about 30 minutes. When you watch that video, you see how our story is parallel to that one. Our story is the same as the Native American. And I don't really feel like we're here. I think people are lying about our numbers, but that's my opinion. So a lot of people don't know the history. A lot of people making up stuff. A lot of people saying stuff, and they're putting a stank on it because they can do that. This is a racist society. Nobody's gonna come and fact check. Nobody's gonna come and say, "Hey, you don't get to say that." You know. Um, but the hoodoo thing, it was just that she's like this priestess or whatever, and so she says whatever she had to say, and so I think that's what's rubbing some people the wrong way. But because we have been removed from our story and from our history, we don't understand that that is a part of our story and a part of our history. And of course, in New Orleans, the voodoo situation came back to us as a people. And then this is the thing about New Orleans compared to other states that had enslavement and had enslaved people there. We hold on to our culture, the ones that, even if we are the last ones left, we still hold on to our culture. Even if you got a baby with a Jamaican, we still hold on to our culture. You see, and that's the difference between us and a lot of other folk. Okay, so we know who we are, and I'm not saying that to be cocky or whatever. I'm just saying we do hold on to our spirituality, our history, our culture, our traditions. We don't care who don't like it. We still gonna do it. We still gonna cook with our hot pork. We still making our red beans and rice. We gonna fry our chicken. We gonna do whatever it is that we do and been doing that was passed down to us because it was passed down to us with respect. It was passed down to us with pride. And so we hold that. A lot of other people don't. A lot of other people are scared to be themselves and they want to go off into other people's stuff. And that's your business. But hoodoo and voodoo and all this stuff is not something for anybody to be ashamed of or to be mad about. And I'm the type of person, regardless of your faith, your walk, your spiritual walk, you have a right to that. Even if you don't believe in God, you have a right to that. That's how I am. I'm not out here. It's not my job to judge nobody. I'm not God. My channel is called Godly, but it's not called Godly for the reasons y'all think. Okay, this is a hip hop thing. It don't have nothing to do with God. Okay, so I'm not God, honey. I don't get to tell nobody what to believe and how to believe. And these ministers who are supposed to be bringing the people to God, they ain't even doing it. You understand? These people out here chasing money. So if they not doing it, who am I? They supposed to be called by God. So you have to really step back and look at life, look what's going on out here. Like, it's not my job to be jumping on nobody about being a priestess or a voodoo priestess or none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing all that. I felt like the Christians that was on TikTok doing all this swooping and hollering about they had to walk out as soon as they saw the man running out the room. It's a horror movie, so that's what you should have been expecting to see. People, it was a lot of tomato sauce rolling down all over the place because it's a horror movie. But the movie is good. I am a little side eye about certain things, but overall, the movie was good to me. Um, like I said, it's a lot of people that's breaking down all this stuff that they feel like he's saying with the movie. It is what it is. But I'm gonna still say just what I said at the beginning. It's a movie. People should not, and this is this man's opinion, or whoever wrote it is their opinion. Unless you know for a fact that these things happen this way, or that that a white woman would really be running, even if she was supposed, because that that was funny, and I feel like that's gonna get some storylines too. There's a character, the other twins girlfriend, she is white, and he had the black one is the hoodoo priestess, and then the white girl, and who was literally chasing him around. And it could be, in real life. I don't know. I wasn't there in 1932, right? It was a lot of stuff going on, and we understand segregation was going on. So would she have really been chasing him around like that? I don't know. If you choose to believe that that's your fairy tale to fall down on, then that's up to you. However, I do know, because like I said, I am from the South. A lot of people were killed over these behind these relationships. So, it's cute to romanticize stuff, but is it realistic? Probably not. And would she have really been chasing behind him when she had a white man at home? Probably not. Because he clearly is saying in the movie that he really wasn't interested in her because he understood the dangers of the relationship, right? And so some people don't get that. And so she shows up to the club or whatever, this the juke joint that he opened with his brother. It was, and I don't know, while I was watching it, I felt like some of the racism, because honestly, he could have set this movie in 2025. He could have set that, and when you guys go and see it, if you saw it, I'm ready. Let me know in the comments. He could have set the movie in 2025, and the movie would have still been good and not put all that racism in there. Like, I could have done without the racist overtones. And then, like, people were saying, the religious overtones as well. He could have used another plot as far as how they ended up with this club in the South, this juke joint or a club. And like I said, if he would have put it in 2025, without all the racism, because I feel like people use that to incite certain emotions in people, and that's just my opinion. But if you guys saw the movie, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. I don't want to give the movie away, so I don't want to do too much talking about it. But yeah, there obviously is 1932. There's going to be some racial overtones. Um, there was the black girl and the white girl and all this stuff with the twins. And it wasn't like a big huge deal, but it wasn't very realistic to me that she would have been chasing him around, and that's just my opinion. I understand there were jazz musicians and that boxer, I can't remember his name, who he had to leave the country to marry his wife. So that kind of lets you know the tone, right, in this country. And I don't know. I That's just my opinion, and I feel like the South was the South, and it just wasn't that friendly to me for her to roam around like that. But that's my opinion. And you didn't see anybody else. Well, the vampires. And like I said, I don't want to get a movie away, so y'all will have to go see it. But to my understanding, he's injecting the Asians, the Chinese people that settled in that this part of Mississippi. Now, look, when I was growing up, I didn't see I didn't see any Asians until later on when I started going to New Orleans later on in life as an adult. I saw them. I started seeing them in like the meat factories and po' boy shops, places like that, the eateries or whatever. They were more visible. But when I was growing up in New Orleans as a small child, I don't recall ever seeing an Asian person. I saw them when I moved to California, right? When my family moved to California. So I don't know, and I guess they were saying this was like on the Delta and they own two stores, and then, allegedly that's true. So um, I don't know, but he kind of incorporates the Asian community and then Irish community, of course. And you guys know that there is a large Irish population in the South, and in New Orleans, we of course celebrate St. Patrick's Day just like they do, right? They would have the parade and they would throw out the cabbage, right, as the green item, and then they all went around kissing and all this stuff that was going on. But anyway, so yeah, he tried to incorporate all, like I said, all the stuff that was there. However, like I said, this is a movie. This is a movie. And so it becomes a little manipulative to me, the way people can sometimes spun stuff. But that's my opinion. You guys can let me know what y'all thought about the movie if you saw it. And I will see you guys in the next video. What did you think about the hoodoo character, Annie? And what was her name? Mary. I believe her name was Mary. She says she was 1/8 black. However, she's white appearing because she, of course, is white. Let me know what y'all thought about the movie, what you thought about that, what you just overall like. And then I think the other thing that Christians are not gonna like is the son of the preacher who ends up becoming Buddy Guy, who I guess Buddy Guy was playing this blues singer in the very end. Go see the movie, child. But there was a Lord's Prayer that was read, and I think that's the other thing that Christians might get upset about, because the vampire start reading it with him and saying some stuff that I was like, okay, side out on. And then I heard Ryan Coogler kind of saying some little stuff, so he might be a little anti-Christian, a little anti-religion. You know, it is what it is. And people are going to express in their art how they feel about things, and so it's that too. I accept people for who they are. That don't mean I have to believe it. Don't mean I have to get down with it. And it is what it is. But let me know what y'all thought about the movie, and I'll see you guys in the next video.